Management Studies IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course Mmpc 011 titled Social Processes and Behavioral Issues for MBA Program. Presenting Block 2 titled Intrapersonal Processes. Unit 7 Motivation Part 2.
Motivating employees in actual practice. We now know that motivation has something to do with our way of life and thinking. Since there is a wide spectrum of human nature, there is no single magic wand to motivate employees as their needs and priorities of satisfaction differ. What may motivate one may not necessarily motivate the other. However, the employer should find out the right way that could make workers more productive. Since an employee has a lot of untapped energy, he or she would be ready to work and contribute the most if trained properly and treated fairly. In managing an organization, some of the important factors which could improve motivation and morale of its employees are 1. Devising a well-defined humanistic personnel policy, wherein the workforce is regarded as the valuable asset of the organization and sufficient care is taken to maintain and develop it, not only to attain organizational objectives, but also to satisfy the normal aspiration of employees. 2. A long-term employment policy projecting image of fairness in recruitment and selection, placement of the right person to the right job, sound and fair promotion and transfer policies, well-planned need-based training and development programs for grooming employees for higher job or building their career in the organization, and suitable workforce planning. 3. Fair wages and salary administration, ensuring equitable wage structure free from internal and external inequalities. 4. Rewarding good performance adequately at the earliest and also giving it deserving publicity. 5. A constructive and objective system of performance appraisal and merit rating of employees aimed at servicing and improving them and not punishing them. 6. Prompt handling of workers' grievances by having a short time-bound procedure well known to employees. In handling grievances, the attitude of persons managing grievances should be cooperative and positive and not negative, and the worker should have the feeling that he or she will be properly heard and justice will be done. 7. In handling disciplinary cases, the management should not only be fair but also seem to be fair. Disciplinary procedure should conform to the principles of natural justice. A corrective and not punitive approach in this respect may be more motivating. 8. Participative and consultative style of management and supervision and increasing autonomy in work may create necessary conditions for motivating workers to give their best. 9. Job enrichment and enlargement, or making the job more challenging, are also essential for motivating the workers to give their best, as these will not only reduce job boredom and frustration, but also increase job satisfaction and satisfy the esteem or ego and self-actualization needs of employee, which are perpetual motivators. 10. Self-motivation by top management, senior and middle managers and supervisors is essential if the persons working under them are to be motivated. The dictum, "Before you motivate others, you must first motivate yourself," should not be lost sight of. Seniors are expected to provide their juniors effective leadership and set an example of dedication and superior skill. Specific actions to motivate others. Managerial action in general can take 4 forms. 1. Provide more of the valued rewards to the person. 2. Change the values of the person towards the rewards which are available. 3. Improve the person's perception of the behavior-reward linkage. 4. Improve the reality of the behavior-reward linkage. The first 2 of these deal with actions which affect the goals which people value as outcome for their work. The latter 2 deal with their expectation of whether the paths available to them will lead to those rewards. Let us see how each of the three forms of influence may be used to achieve one or more of these four forms of action. With respect to individual motivation and in the context of the path goal theory, managerial action, which constitutes indirect influence, is aimed at arranging the appropriate strategies, structures, and policies to encourage and support motivated people to achieve organizational goals. This includes, for example, establishing incentive and reward system which will be valued by employees. Indirect influence also includes selecting and employing people who have necessary skills and who value the kinds of rewards available in the organization. Finally, indirect influence includes developing in oneself and others the managerial skills, particularly the management style of pattern of behavior in dealing with subordinates, which will have the effect of creating higher motivation. You may recall that semi-direct influence is exercised when a manager acts to affect an individual through his or her social relationships at work. The emergent group has a strong effect on what its members value and what their expectations are with respect to the outcomes from behavior. The group reward may serve as a highly visible symbol of the need for intra-company cooperation as well. Direct influence on the individual involves communication and the personal face-to-face relationship. A manager who attempts to increase the level of motivation through direct influence is typically trying to do the second and third actions mentioned above with respect to that person's value and expectations. Thus, the manager may work overtime to convince an employee to value more highly the rewards already existing and available in the organization. This may be particularly difficult in times of major social change. The other form of action for direct influence is to improve the employee's perception of the linkage between behavior and reward. This might involve, for example, personal conversations about what can result from certain levels of performance, such as promotion, bonus, or greater responsibility. As important as what to do to motivate others is the question of how to do it. We turn now to a closer look at a manager's behavior required to motivate others. To do this, we discuss management style and leadership. Management style and leadership. In working relationships with others, and particularly in direct influence in motivating others, a manager exhibits one or more characteristic styles of behavior. We may define management style as the pattern of a manager's behavior in working relationships with others over time. This definition is relatively loose, being more a concept than a precise variable. In order to be more precise, we need to set up one or more categories of behavior characteristics where employees, for one reason or another, see their work only as a means of economic rewards. A second style is a supportive, people-oriented, humanistic style, which may be appropriate for employees who value social rewards. A third is a participative, mutual goal-setting style in which the manager works with subordinates who value autonomy and are rewarded by self-fulfillment. In a way, then, we say that a manager who holds one of the three basic sets of assumptions about what motivates others should exhibit a style which is consistent with those assumptions in order to provide the appropriate means to exercise direct influence. In other words, managers need to understand what reward subordinates value and behave in a pattern which will fit with that understanding as one part of providing a consistent environment for the employee. The manager who believes, as a part of his or her perspective, that people are complex is going above and beyond the three operational sets of assumptions about valued rewards. The complex person assumptions imply that a manager will have no fixed beliefs about what motivates people in general or what style to employ in all situations. Rather, the manager will attempt to understand the particular subordinates, the particular situation, and ideally select a style to fit the situation. Thus, they recognize that people are complex and that a diagnosis with a goal as a path goal theory must be performed before employing a style. The manager cannot have one particular style for all situations. Rather, the manager must be able to choose an appropriate style for a situation and then change that style if necessary. One may call this approach a contingent management style, but it is important to note that it refers to the process of diagnosis and choice of managerial behavior rather than to the pattern of behavior itself. Motives and managerial behavior. As a manager, we may have asked, what motivates managers to become successful in a large organization? Among other things, they need to make an impact to be strong and to influence the behavior of others for the organizational good. What separates good managers from poor managers is the need for power. However, it should neither be dictatorial nor power for personal goals. It is not crude power or power used impulsively. It can be referred to as altruistic power, meaning the power to influence people for the good of the organization for which they work. It may also be called socialized power, meaning power which is tempered by a large dose of self-control and perspective. When a large number of executives are grouped according to their success in a running large, complex corporation, the profile of the effective manager looks like: the top managers of a company must possess a high concern for influencing people and commensurate authority. However, this need must be disciplined and controlled so that it is directed towards the benefit of an institution as a whole and not towards the manager's personal benefits. Moreover, the top manager's need for power ought to be greater than her or his need for being liked by people. A good manager is not primarily motivated by the need for affiliation. The affiliation need refers to the desire to be liked and accepted by other people. People with strong affiliation need not necessarily do well in management positions. To maintain a high morale and productive environment, policies must be applied universally and consistently. A manager concerned with developing friendly relationships may take too many exceptions to the rule for certain subordinates, thereby upsetting these subordinates who do not receive special treatment. A manager motivated by the affiliation need may create poor teamwork and low morale. This, of course, would be inadvertent, as such an individual would not purposefully do anything to upset the relationships in the work group. It would occur most likely because of the failure of the manager to focus on the task to be accomplished. The need for achievement is not extreme among effective managers. The need for achievement means a desire to do things better. Entrepreneurs, for example, are high in the need to achieve. This is understandable since people high in this need try to do things better themselves and want constant feedback on their performance to see how well they are working. While good managers may be high in the need to achieve, it is usually not greatly out of balance when compared to the power and affiliation motives. A manager with an usually high need to achieve would, in all probability, be characterized by the inability to delegate authority. But good managers get things done with and through other people. They are, therefore, required invariably to delegate authority. The manager must get others to do things through influence or through persuasion. By definition, then one aspect of a manager's job is to help others perform their jobs better rather than trying to better perform the many short-term projects alone. A mature, self-controlled need for power will help create a good manager who helps subordinates feel strong and responsible, rewards them properly for good performance, and sees that things are organized in such a way that subordinates feel they know what they should be doing. Above all, managers should foster, among others, a strong sense of team spirit, of pride in working as a part of a particular team. If a manager creates and encourages this spirit, his or her subordinates certainly should perform better. The actions of manager can be measured along two dimensions: a concern for people and a concern for productive output. A strong power need combined with a weak need for affiliation does not conflict with being people-oriented or democratic towards subordinate. Power is a motive, while being people-oriented is a behavior or an action. Effective managers, in their effort to influence subordinates and get work done, express their strong power needs in democratic, people-oriented ways. Research on power in organizations indicate that the managers who were strong in power needs were also rated strong on the people-oriented supervisory style by their own subordinates. Summary 1. Motivation is defined as a process governing choices made by persons or lower organisms among alternatives form of voluntary activity. As such, motivation is concerned with 1. The direction of behavior or what a person chooses to do when presented with a number of possible alternatives. 2. The amplitude or strength of the effect once the choice is made. And 3. The persistence of the behavior or how long the person continues with it. Choices behavior refers to decisions directed towards occupational preferences, choices, organization choices, job attendance, self-training, creativity, spontaneity, and job termination. 2. Almost all workers are motivated to have a high level of self-esteem in the work situation. Often, when a person is not in a work situation providing high self-esteem, the person will be fighting back actively or passively like a slave with all sorts of sly countermeasures. People do not want to be pushed around, misunderstood, unappreciated, mistreated, controlled, or laughed at. All these things cause low self-esteem. The individual does not want to expect success to be active, to be respected, to exercise self-control, and to be self-starting. 3. Factors within the job are usually effective motivators and can help awaken the urge to accomplish and to be self-starting. Such factors include feelings of achievement, recognition, and responsibility. These feelings sometimes surprise workers and in so doing inspire and encourage high motivation. 4. Jobs not providing for intrinsic motivation are low in cultivation or stimulation. Some form of job redesign is suggested for this type of job. 5. High task performance results when 1. Employees are able to use their valued abilities and skills in becoming task competent. 2. Employees perceive valued and equitable rewards to be linked to task performance. And 3. Employees acknowledge a different reward system based on performance within the organization. 6. The power motive is important to effective managers. This need is not for dictatorial power or crude impulsive power, but rather socialized power and the power to influence people for the sake of the organization. While some balance of motives is usually present within most individuals, a high need for power seems to be critical to a person's ability to function as a manager. 7. Motivation is a complex problem in organization because the needs, wants, and desires of each worker differ as each individual is unique in his or her biological and psychological makeup and in his or her learning experiences. Motivation is either internal or external, depending on where the action is initiated. 8. External motivation builds on internal motivation and depends on the motivational assumptions and techniques used by the manager.
We were listening to the audiobook by the School of Management Studies IGNOU for MBA program. Course code Mmpc 011 titled Social Processes and Behavioral Issues. Course Coordinator Professor Srilata. Voiceover by Renuka. Edited by Ashok Sharma. Program assisted by Tarannum Jahan. Program produced by Dr. Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.